right, welcome to another episode of Piecing It Together, the podcast where we take a look at a new movie and try to figure out what movies inspired it. And today on the show, it is one of our monthly trailer roundups. Jason Harris from Awesome Movie Year joins me, and instead of just taking one movie and figuring out what movies inspired it, we're taking a look at a bunch of movies, a whole bunch that are coming out in July, and just based off the trailers, trying to guess some puzzle pieces, and then we'll see, maybe we'll end up covering some of these movies throughout the month. But before we get to that, first of all, I gotta let you know that we've got so many episodes on the way right now. I think I've got about 6 in the can just waiting to release, so make sure you are subscribed. Later this week, we will have the top 10 of 2024 so far. And then we just go on to episode after that. So make sure you're subscribed if you're enjoying Piecing It Together, so you'll find out about all these new episodes as they come. You could also follow us on social media at Piecing Pod and join our Facebook group Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces. And before we get into today's conversation, I also want to look back. We have some listener puzzle pieces for some episodes that came out in the month of June. And let's get into some of these. So we got a bunch from our friend Joe Black. But first, we will start with Sasquatch Sunset, which Eric Langberg, who has been on a few episodes of the podcast before, mentioned sometimes a great notion and linked to a specific scene, which is a great, definite pull. And then after he had sent that, found the director is actually referencing it. So, I mean, definitely great pick there. And then Joe Black said Greystroke, The Legend of Tarzan, which I've never seen that, and Willow Creek. So we got a few things in there for Sasquatch Sunset. Then for Bad Boys Ride or Die, Joe Black mentioned Scream 3, Crank 2 High Voltage, and Eraser. I've been meaning to go on like a binge of those Schwarzenegger movies of like that era. I've been just curious about how they kind of hold up at this, point in time. So maybe one of these days. But yeah, the Crank movies are something I was thinking about actually for those. And as I've mentioned on the show many times, the Scream movies all kind of run together after the first one. So I'm not sure what happens in Scream 3 exactly, but I'm sure Joe has a good reference there. And then, last but not least, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Joe Black mentioned The Taking of Tiger Mountain, which I've never heard of, and The A-Team, which is something that was on my list that I ended up not bringing up, but I was thinking about including on the episode, so definitely. But thank you to Eric and Joe for sending in some pieces. As usual, if you're listening to an episode of Piecing It Together and you think of some puzzle pieces that we didn't mention on the show, send them in. I would love to hear them, and I will read them on the next trailer episode. So with that said, let's get into our July trailers roundup. Jason Harris is back with us for another month of trailers. It's July. It's hot as hell. How you doing, Jason?
It's hot as balls out here. Hi, this guy. Let's go get some ice and rub it on the nuts.
Are you warming up your impressions for our Bike Riders episode we're going to do?
Oh, that one, it's going to be a little more... down in the bike club.
What you talking about? Jason.
Bike like a clown? Do I look like a clown on that bike to you?
Let's get into this. We got a lot to talk about. Let's start off by looking back at our June list and just seeing what we actually caught up with. Starting with Under Paris, which I did watch. And quite frankly, I don't remember a single thing about it. I feel like everybody overpraised this movie quite a bit. Did you watch it?
No, I didn't watch it. I forgot that it came out, but I'm surprised that you forgot everything that happened in a movie about a shark swimming underneath Paris to attack an entire city.
Sounds very exciting, but I could barely remember any of it. So
hey, Dave,
it must have not been good.
When it comes to Under Paris, you're another movie, Forget Paris. Heyo, Billy Crystal.
You got him. Let's go to Hitman, the new Richard Linklater film, which I don't know. I was going to say everybody loves, but it seems like some people love, some people hate. It's in the middle. It's kind of just all over the place.
I am a huge Richard Linklater fan, and I was really looking forward to this movie, and I did not connect with it at all. I've listened to other podcasts, the Big Picture podcast about it. What did I miss? But it just didn't work for me. I don't think Pal was the type of lead that could really hold that down. I think there were gaps in logic throughout. I didn't think the supporting uh cast was as strong as another. This felt like Bernie light to me. I think he's done this been way better in
Hmm.
Bernie than he did here. I don't know, man. This one didn't connect for me. It was such a bummer.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think I liked it more than you did, but I also just did not think it was everything that the people who raved about it cracked up to be. And also Glenn Powell as this weirdo who nobody likes, until he puts on this facade. That doesn't work.
I agree. Remember, there's a scene in there where, he's got these two personalities, but really his regular personality is just fine, right?
Yeah.
And at one point, he's using the other personality, or it's influenced him as a teacher. And the students or the female students, when did our professor get hot? And it's they literally pulled the she's all that move where he took
Yeah.
his glasses off and now he's hot. And I'm like, come on, man. This is
Yeah.
this is too basic for a Linkletter thing. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up is The Watchers, which I did see. I was actually supposed to record an episode on that, but we never got around to doing it. It was all right. I mean, definitely not great. You didn't see it, did you?
No, no one has said good things about this one.
Yeah, I think she shows some promise, but at the same time, definitely not great. So
Does this movie get made if her dad's not M. Night Shyamalan?
probably not. But I'm pro nepo baby. I don't have any problem with nepo babies. But
if the two Cronenberg kids are doing, interesting, right?
Exactly.
Things.
Next up is Inside Out 2, which I'm actually recording an episode on later today at the time of this recording. It's fun. It's blowing up the box office. Probably going to be the biggest movie of the year. Did you see it yet?
It's so I have my daughter half the week and her mom has her the other half. So normally I take her to the new releases, but her mom has her on Fridays. And so they went and saw it opening day. And I'm and I know it's going to be good and fun, but I'm I could probably wait this one out and wait till Disney Plus gets it. So
You'll be the only one who waited. The only one.
Yeah, I know, but that's fine. I'll take it. So
yeah,
I want to see it. I'm glad it's doing well. Pixar needed the hit. We know that. So
yeah,
it's good.
Absolutely. Next up is Tuesday, which not really getting great reviews. I did not see
was
it.
this?
This was Julia Louis-Dreyfus and a talking.
Oh
parrot.
yeah. I didn't see it, but it kind of came and went out here. So.
Yeah, for sure. Next up is I Used to Be Funny with Rachel Sennett, which I hear is pretty good. It's an indie. It's on VOD. I don't think it opened in theaters here.
Yeah, I don't think it came out. How could I, so.
Yeah. Next up is The Bike Riders, which, like I said, we're going to be recording an episode on. Both of us, I think, a little let down by it, but overall, I liked it.
I was mixed on it. Not as good as a lot of other Jeff Nichols stuff. We'll talk about it on the episode. So,
absolutely.
Great soundtrack.
Yeah, for sure. Next up is Kinds of Kindness, the new Yorgos Lanthimos, which I'm seeing tonight, actually. And
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, sure. You want to come? 7:00?
I got a show.
Okay. Next up is Thelma, which I am really looking forward to, but I'm waiting until I can see it with my mom. She can't go right now. We'll see it sometime soon.
I watched Thelma.
You did?
Yeah.
How'd you like it?
Your face, Dave. See, you're not the only one who sees movies. I did good this month. I saw a bunch of movies. I think June Squibb is a great lead. She's really, really fun. I honestly wouldn't mind if she gets an Oscar nod for it, for Best Actress. Nice. I think Richard Roundtree is really great. The issue is they have this whole subplot with the family, with the grandkid and Parker Posey and Clark Gregg, and it's not nearly as interesting as when Thelma is doing the heist. So I was kind of mixed on it. I wanted more Thelma and less everybody else.
Gotcha. Well, I'm looking forward to watching it, hopefully soon.
Yeah, you and your mom will have a good time.
Yeah, for sure. Next up is A Quiet Place Day One. Actually, I might as well just say A Quiet Place Day One and Horizon an American Saga. Neither are out yet at the time that we're recording this. I'll probably make it out for Horizon. A Quiet Place Day One, I really just don't really care about, to be honest.
It looks like a fun IMAX movie,
maybe
beat the heat for a few years. Maybe not a few hours. There's an actress in the cast of BattleBots who is in Horizon who you should interview for that episode.
Nice. Let's set that up. I'm down. Next up was Daddy-O, which it's not out here yet, but I did get to watch it already and recorded an episode. It'll be up already by the time that this episode goes up. It's really good. I loved it.
What is that one again?
That is Dakota Johnson and Sean Penn in a cab
for
90 minutes.
Right. Yeah, it looked fun. And I mean, so Dave, in the last episode we were saying, like, what is a Dakota Johnson, Dave? So
yeah.
does this take it up a level with her?
I think so. I think she is fantastic in this. And I mean, Sean Penn hasn't done anything this good in a long time. So
well, that's exciting. So
yeah, I'm talking this one up. I thought it was absolutely great. So definitely see it. So next up is Fancy Dance, which also isn't out. Although I did see your awesome movie, your co-host Josh gave it a pretty good review.
I don't even remember it. What is happening? Where did all these movies go?
Your brains are going out the window.
Which one was that one?
Wasn't Lily Gladstone in it?
We like her. So.
Yeah.
I watched Under the Bridge, so.
Yeah, looked all right.
What the heck, man? Is it just too many movies that aren't making an impression? How am I not
There's a lot of movies out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movies. And then last up, it wasn't on our main list, but, I mentioned it in passing because of the live show, but Bad Boys Ride or Die, big success as far as, big movies like this go, and I loved it. It's so much fun. I know you weren't really looking forward to it, but
I haven't seen it.
It's a blast.
Yeah. I haven't watched it. You have no credibility, though.
Well, that's okay. I don't need credibility. I just do a podcast. It's all good.
Everyone with podcasts has credibility. What are you talking about?
That's true. That is absolutely true. Next up, that's it for the month. So let's get into July. Yeah, let's do it.
July,
let's get to these new ones.
Not looking good. Pretty disappointed with this list that you put together here. So.
Yeah, you're actually pretty right. Although there's at least two or three of these that I'm looking forward to.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
So.
Well, not looking really forward to Despicable Me 4. I've never been a fan of these movies, to be honest with you. But it'll be in theaters July 3rd. Will Ferrell joins the cast. There's a whole bunch more Minions, I guess. I don't know. Are you a fan of these movies?
No. What the fuck? Why is this so fucking popular?
And it's going to make $1 billion. Every single one of them does.
This is one of those previews that made me want to punch the movie, So I mean, look, whether you're a fan or not, this doesn't look good, right?
No, not at all.
It looks terrible here. Yeah, I cursed twice. That's so upset. I mean, honestly, what this looked like to me was like, hey, let's go back and watch the Incredibles movies and figure out a way to put them together so we can make one movie of our own. And then with all the Minions, they remind me of characters like Beaker, from the Muppets, or Itchy and Scratchy. They don't talk, and from The Simpsons, and they get all into all this hijinks. So this looked really bad to me, Dave.
Yeah, I was not into it either. Although I will say, shout out to the marketing team. They made the Minions invade the Sphere, which is kind of cool here in Las Vegas.
Just on the outside, on the digital outside.
Yeah, on the digital outside.
Fun.
There's a big giant Minion.
I saw that. That's right where I work. You would never know because you never come support my shows.
One of these days.
Yeah.
I thought of Captain America because of the whole super soldier serum thing that they're testing on the Minions. And then I don't understand why there's a Terminator 2 reference here. It just seems like a random thing, but I threw that on the list because of the T2 music being used, and the one guy is running really fast, like Robert Patrick. So
great work.
Let's move on. Let's move on. July 2nd, Netflix, Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. The return, of course, of Eddie Murphy to one of his most beloved roles. I don't really know plot-wise what you could really say other than it's another Beverly Hills Cop, but it looks fun, I guess.
Yeah, it looked good. Look, the first one is such a classic. We covered it on Awesome Movie Year and everything, so that was a really good deal. This one, big set pieces and stuff like that. So directed by Mark Malloy. Dave, what do you think of Mark Malloy?
Wait, isn't it his directorial debut as a feature director?
Yeah. What do you think of that, Dave?
I don't know what to say. I will say it was supposed to be directed by the guys who did Bad Boys Ride or Die.
Yeah,
so
I don't care about that.
Yeah, I know, but they're really good. So They would have made this exciting. I
Big
don't
Mark
know.
Malloy fan, Dave. Look, how about Joseph Gordon-Levitt? It looks like Judge Reinhold and a lot of the old cast members are in it. Bronson Pinchot. I mean, this. I'm kind of excited for it. It's weird
Yeah.
that it's going right to Netflix, but how many
Sucks
times
that
have
it
we
is.
said that? I mean, what's interesting because you just mentioned Bad Boys. I had Bad Boys on my list, but this is like the snake eating its tail because Bad Boys is obviously
Sure.
influenced by the original Beverly Hills Cop, right? And then the other one I put down was it's Eddie Murphy. It's a big movie. It's a big sequel, and it's going right to streaming, coming to America. Which I hope this is better than that because that was terrible. Yeah.
I really hope it's better than that. I put Top Gun Maverick because of the title, the fact that they took the name and then put the character's name.
Go.
Yeah, so there you go. And then I also put Halloween 2018, the reboot of Halloween, because it seems like he's trying to take care of his kid, and that was like a big thing with Laurie Strode wanting to take care of her kid and protect the kid from Michael Myers. So
see, I got it. I mean, he was the kid and Axel are definitely disconnected or they don't really have a relationship. So I think it's maybe he's got to save her, and that's how he gets back in her good graces. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, next up is Kill, which is one of the movies I'm super excited about for this month. It is in theaters July 4th. It's an Indian film set on a train that just turns into a complete battle zone, and they're claiming this is the goriest action movie to ever come out of India.
Whoa, that's exciting. Dave, do we know, is this Hindi? Is this a different language? What language?
That I'm not 100% sure of.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously you go right to RRR for their action spectacular last year, right? There's that, look, the obligatory nobody reference that we use once a month, right? Bus, train. Yep. And then I did put, there was a TV show, The Bodyguard, which was a pretty good 4-episode show that started with a British miniseries, the same guys who did In the Line of Fire. Nope, not In the Line of Fire. That's a Clint Eastwood movie. Line of Duty, my favorite British cop show. So I have that, and then for train action, all that stuff, I picked Snowpiercer. But I also wanted to throw out Ong Bak because this feels like a total hey, we're introducing Jackie Chan. We're introducing Ong Bak, Way of the Warrior, right?
Yeah.
So Ong Bak was the one I picked, not Jackie Chan. But that's what it feels like. We're introducing this whole new action to it. But let's go. Let's get some popcorn and sit and cheer for some kills.
Yeah, I want to see people get stabbed in the face over and over again. It's going to be great. But by the way, speaking of nobody, did you see the director of The Night Comes for Us is doing the sequel?
Yes, because I'm in the Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces group where they.
You are in that group.
So, yeah.
Shout out to that group.
You're excited for that.
I am very excited about that. I had Snowpiercer on my list. I also had Bullet Train, which again,
that was the other one.
Yeah, hopefully this is way better than that. But yeah, very excited for that.
How about we throw out an old school train movie, Strangers on a Train, the Hitchcock movie, which Throw Mama from a Train is based on one of my favorite Hitchcock movies.
Yeah.
So, high recommendation there.
Why not? Why not? Next up is a movie you brought to my attention. I had skipped over this one somehow. It's Space Cadet. It'll be on Prime on July 4th, starring Emma Roberts as this woman who wanted to be an astronaut when she was a kid, but then she just kind of became this bartender party girl, and then she kind of fakes her way into the space program, and craziness ensues.
Why did I bring it to your attention, Dave? This is why. Years ago, I was approached when Russia kind of moved over to, I guess, after communism into capitalism, Russian billionaires, like these pocket oil billionaires and whatever, they all started investing in film because it was either that or pay taxes. Mm-hmm. So I was approached by a Russian filmmaker who was being funded by a Russian tech billionaire. Myself and my old writing partner, they had already lined up the Russian space station, right? And I think they actually wanted to shoot some stuff on the International Space Station. So they wanted to write a movie. They wanted us to write a movie called Space Cadet about a pop star who goes into space. We thought it was a terrible idea. And then they said, we'll pay you this much. And we said, what a great idea. We'll do it.
Sounds
right?
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So we wrote this whole movie about this pop star who needs to make a comeback. And she's like, I'm going to shoot a music video in outer space. And it's kind of like the version we ended up doing was kind of like The Other Guys, right? And meets Legally Blonde, which this definitely has a Legally Blonde feel to it, right?
Yep.
So we turn in a good first draft, and they're like, "Hey, we want a little more kind of whatever it is they wanted." We turn in a second draft, and I'm like, "Okay, we're really kind of like this is ready to go." Then they hired me to act in one of their movies called it was their version of Sex in the City. It was called Love in the Big City 3.
Were you
Uh
Samantha?
Clearly, because I was
Yeah.
just banging all those Russian dudes, whatever. But it's so then I'm on set and they're like, "Yeah, we think we're gonna make your movie next." No, we didn't make our movie next because what they did was they not being all movie guys, they decided we have to keep effing with the script. So the tech billionaire wrote the next draft and sent it to us, which obviously I don't even know why he would be writing a draft. But it
Mhm.
would have been like if I coded his new software or program, because what he wrote, I didn't even understand it as a film anymore. And none of it made any sense to me. So they took something that was ready to go and then they fucked it up because what else do they do? And now here's this movie, and there's another movie that also kind of deals with like similar elements coming out. It might be on our list even, but I was just like, we had it, we could have done it. It would have
Yeah.
been really decent, and now we fucked it up, and this is where we're at. So yeah, Legally Blonde, my failed past, and what was my other one? Space Camp, the '80s movie.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That sucks.
That's fine. It
Yeah, the
happened.
movie business sucks. But
Yeah.
yeah, so Legally Blonde and Space Camp, those were on my list too. I also had Flamin' Hot, a janitor becoming a higher up in some company, and I think they even had the literal line, "Are we sure this guy belongs here?" They say that about her in this. So had that there, but it looks fun. So next up is Sound of Hope, the story of Possum Trot, which will be in theaters July 4th. This is another one of those Angel Studios movies. I guess we're going to be talking about one like every other month.
Yeah, they've
Um,
really seemed to jump up their outputs in Sound of Freedom, right?
yeah, yeah, and I wonder if they're going to just keep using names like Sound of to
I
kind
think
of,
so.
yeah,
But
yeah,
but all these other ones are like uplifting stories about like this one's about adoption. There was the one about helping the little girl see. None of
yeah.
them involve human trafficking
That's
or anything
good.
like that, right?
Yeah,
So,
more
but I
more
wonder if that.
positivity.
I mean, we think that's good, but do people who follow these movies want to see that, or do they want to see, that down and dirty
Do
stuff?
they
I
want to
don't know.
wallow? Yeah,
Yeah, these religious types. What's smoldering beneath, Dave? Huh?
that's true. That is true.
Possum Trot, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. No, that's not it. What did I put for this one? Two movies. There was a movie about. Do you remember Losing Isaiah, where Halle Berry was like a strung out drug addict and
Oh
Jessica Lange
yeah.
adopts the kid and like, white mom, black kid, that story. And then Instant Family, Mark Wahlberg,
That's what I
Jennifer
put.
Garner, right? We're
Yep.
adopting kids, so.
Absolutely. That's the one that I was going with. I also put the TV show The Fosters, which I know Gina watched a few years ago about foster families. But yeah, I'm sure the audience will like that. Not really something I'm exactly looking forward to. Um, Next up is Skywalkers, A Love Story, which will be on Netflix July 10th. I didn't realize when I put this on the list it would be a documentary, and then I started watching the trailer, and I was like, I think we could come up with stuff for it anyway. But basically, about these people who are, kind of death defying and doing this crazy shit.
Yeah, so this was one of the ones that caught my attention. One from the way it was shot, and then two, I'm a big documentary guy, but so yeah, these guys they go up to like the tallest buildings in the world and shoot social media videos of them trying not to die up there, right?
Yeah.
Breaking in. So there's another good documentary on Netflix. It's called The Deepest Breath. It's on Netflix, and it's basically this underwater, right, where people are doing the deep sea free diving and everything like that. And I know they're
Mm.
making a narrative film out of it. So that's a real like right there, right in that wheelhouse kind of piece. I would recommend that documentary. I mean, and then the two documentaries I thought of. One, there's a whole, and we're gonna scale the last great super mega skyscraper. It's basically free solo, right? Except Alex
Yep.
Honnold's doing it on the rock wall. And then Man on Fire, maybe my favorite documentary Man on Fire is not the name of it. Man on
Wire
Wire is.
Yes.
Man on Wire, my favorite Denzel Washington movie. No,
Yeah.
Man on Wire about Philippe Petit when he does the tightrope walk across the Twin Towers. Amazing documentary.
Yeah, absolutely. Didn't they make that into a narrative with Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Yeah, I don't think anyone. It was a Zemeckis movie, right?
Yeah,
But no one cared
yeah.
about it. So
Yeah, but those were the two pieces I had. And I know I complain a lot about movies going to streaming, but if this was shot in IMAX, why is it a streaming movie?
What fun would that be to go to IMAX and see that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I did get to see Free Solo in IMAX. It was insane. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Next up, the movie I'm most excited about, Longlegs, will be in theaters July 12th. This is a new film from Osgood Perkins, stars Micah Monroe and Nicolas Cage. She's an FBI agent. He's a serial killer. I actually did not watch the trailer specifically because, like, I don't want to know anymore. I've seen a little bit of the crazy viral marketing campaign they've been doing. Like, that's all I need. I'm good.
Well, the trailer is doesn't really offer anything. So
yeah, it's all very cryptic from what I understand.
Yeah, which I'm happy about, So
yeah.
It was a tough one to pick, like what it's going to be based on that. I mean, I thought of like the Saw movies because of like the mythology that goes into it. I thought of Kiss the Girls, the Morgan Freeman detective movie, and I thought of Frailty which is a cool movie about, our demons real and this and that. And that it kind of had all those like kind of feels like sprinkled into it, but I can't tell you really much one way or the other.
Yeah, they're keeping it all really close to the vest. I was thinking of True Detective season 1, just like all the kind of occult, strange, dark stuff that there's really no telling where it's going until it gets there. And then Silence of the Lambs, as far as, FBI dealing with the deranged serial killer is concerned. But yeah, I absolutely cannot wait for that one. Next up is the other space-related movie that I think you were talking about. It is Fly Me to the Moon, which will be in theaters July 12th. Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson star. She is a marketing person who basically has to like work with this astronaut to kind of sell the moon landing to people by making a fake moon landing. Is that like what's happening? It looks really silly and kind of funny.
Yeah. So back to my version or our old version of Space Cadet, we had this as a plot beat in there.
Nice.
Where they do like an entire like before Unreal Engines and Mandalorian technology was there, we had that as like they actually fake the outer space mission because they're not going to actually send a pop star into outer space, and then obviously she finds out and that set piece and demands she goes to outer space, blah blah blah. So they really fucked us up twice there, Dave, didn't they?
Sure
we
did.
had this movie. So again, I'm going to say my failed pass. Wag the Dog, I thought of right away.
Oh, yeah.
And Argo, because of the idea of using films in like political ways and or using Hollywood to help create a political message or a marketing message. And lastly, the TV show The Americans, because of the Russian and American war for supremacy in all things.
Yeah, those are all really great pieces. I was thinking of Hail Caesar, the Coen Brothers movie, as far as kind of like faking movies within movies and, the whole old Hollywood thing. And then, First Man, we got to kind of go into the actual space program as part of this movie as well. So throw that one in there too. But I really love Wag the Dog as a piece here. That's like a perfect one.
Well, you're welcome. But I'm happy to see Scarlett Johansson do something a little different than what we've seen from her in the last decade or so, So
yeah, before she gets back to Jurassic World 4 next year.
So. Well, I didn't know she was she in the other ones or no?
No, they're like rebooting it and.
Oh, great! Finally, a reboot of the Jurassic Park series. We haven't had that yet, so great! How exciting! Boy. Who's directing that one?
I forget. Is it David Leitch? Oh, it's Gareth Edwards. That's who's doing it.
The guy who got fired from the Star Wars movies.
Yeah, they made The Creator last year. I mean, people like that.
You know how Scarlett Johansson is suing that AI company for like
Yeah.
approximating her voice. I am rooting for her in that, but I think in the settlement it has to say she can't do shitty IP reboots, and that's the trade-off.
Oh boy. Let's go on to Touch, which will be in theaters July 12th. A man tries to find his first love long after she's disappeared.
50 years later.
Is it?
Little late on trying to look for her,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
My
like
dad kind of did this. He was making phone calls to one of his old girlfriends from high school,
when?
like a year ago, and we were just laughing at him the whole time.
How did your mom feel?
She just thought he's an idiot, you know?
Yeah. Well, then your dad is a puzzle piece, Dave. So.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, look, the best version of this was done last year. Past Lives was so awesome, right? You
Sure.
know? And then this kind of reconnection 50 years later, you got to have the Notebook in there. And, let's throw a little love to Jiro Dreams of Sushi because of all the sushi stuff in there.
Sure, why not? Yeah, Past Lives is a good one to include. I also was thinking of Broken Flowers, the Bill Murray, trying
Has
to
your
reconnect
dad
with old
taken
loves.
a road trip across the country with a, kind of bastard daughter of his just to reconnect with these people?
No, no. We did take a road trip with a U-Haul full of records once a few years back.
Where to? From where to where?
From West Virginia all the way back here.
Who went? You and him?
Me and him, yeah.
That
What an
must-
experience.
I think that covers it.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to ask more.
Yeah, you got the information. The other one I was thinking of, not like plot or story wise or anything, but just the way the film looks. It reminded me a little bit of that Inarritu film, Beautiful. Just kind of the way that it was shot. It just made me think of that. But yeah, I don't know. It looks pretty interesting. We'll see. Then we move on to Descendants: The Rise of Red, which will be on Disney Plus on July 12th. And I just cannot believe this is the fourth movie in a series that I've never, ever heard of.
My daughter is a big fan of these. I recognize the song from What's My Name? What's My Name? Uma. Uma. I've never watched one of these, but I know she's a big fan. And so you should have had her on this because this
Yeah.
doesn't look like it's for me. She did make me watch one that I think we covered on here before that this reminds me of, The School for Good and Evil, which was terrible.
Mm.
There's obviously that, Harry Potter wizarding world type stuff in here. And then in this one, she goes back and finds her mom like as a teenager. So Back to the Future.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. For that plot point, I was thinking of The Flash, going back in time to save your mom. And then for like just the whole overall show, I don't know if this is something in the other three movies of this series, but all the classic cartoon characters being a part of it. I thought of that Once Upon a Time TV show, where there's always like normal human versions of all the classic cartoon characters. So yeah, I do not know anything
You
about
gotta
the
watch it.
series. I guess so. I'll
You
have
got to
to
watch
binge
the
them all.
first three. Yeah. Get to it.
Obviously, that's not going to happen. But yes. And then last up for the month is Twisters, which will be in theaters July 19th. Glenn Powell, the biggest star in the world.
No, he's not. This is
He's
not
huge.
No, is he though? Can he? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not just. I like Glenn Powell just fine, but like, no one is like, oh, he can open a movie still, right? Like,
We don't know yet. We don't know yet because Netflix went and bought up Hitman. Even if we
Right.
didn't love it, it might have done well in the theaters,
oh no,
But-
I know. I would want it to be in the theaters, but I
Yeah.
don't think he's. Nobody knows Glenn Powell like they know like Tom Cruise. So
Sure.
let's
Yeah.
calm down. So
Yeah. Well, anyway, this movie looks great. I can't wait. It looks
it looks
ridiculous.
okay. Yeah,
looks
ridiculous is a more fair way of
Yeah.
saying it, right? Like,
Yeah.
they're tornado chasers, obviously, and they're doing whatever they do. This was my Top Gun piece, right? Because
Mhm.
the whole idea of the machismo of like, the need for speed and all this, and going for that. And then there's that whole set piece at the rodeo, and that reminded me of the aliens kind of showing up overhead in Nope in the
Oh, yeah.
old timey Western world.
Yeah, that works for sure. I was also, of course, thinking of Maverick, and like just that cockiness that Glenn Powell is bringing right from that same character he was playing in that movie. And then I was also thinking, now that there's two of the thing, I was thinking of like a lot of monster movies. You can go with like maybe Godzilla, King of the Monsters, where once a sequel happens, it's like, oh, this time there's two of them. So
Right.
went with that. But I'm really hopeful for it. I think it'll be good. And I'm looking forward to revisiting the first one. I haven't seen it since, maybe the 90s. So I'm looking forward to watching that in a couple of weeks here. Last two things to mention is we do have two live shows in July. First up on July 5th. It'll be out July 5th. July 7th is when our live show is. We're doing MaXXXine, the conclusion of the trilogy, started with X and Pearl from Ty West, starring Mia Goth. And then on July 25th, we are doing Deadpool and Wolverine, which obviously needs no introduction. What are you thinking on these two?
Well, I like X a lot more than I like Pearl.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to see how look, whether I like it or not, at least Ty West is bringing something original to the table, right? So
Sure.
and we like Mia Goth a lot. Yeah, I mean, I hope Deadpool is as funny as the other ones, and I'm all in on Logan, our guy, Wolverine. Let's go.
Yeah.
So even
Yeah.
though he's dead, he's not dead. So
Yeah.
Dave, I also there's this movie Boneyard coming out that was filmed in Las Vegas. Did you know that? So,
I didn't even notice this on any of my lists. Who's in Boneyard?
well, it stars one of the great actors of our time, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson,
Ooh.
and Mel Gibson is the other guy. And it looks like Mel Gibson's doing like good Mel Gibson work, but it's another one of these. This was my True Detective season one piece. Like
Hmm.
this killer is trying to make a statement, and we got to track him down, and so this was definitely True Detective 7, Kiss the Girls Again. So, but I know they did a lot of filming up here, so just be ready for it. I think Rampage Jackson might be in it too. So
Hell yeah.
all
Hell
the
yeah. No, that sounds like it could be something. We will see. By the way, I just wanted to say with the live shows, we talk about superhero fatigue and stuff like that all the time. I'm excited when like a dozen tickets are sold for these live shows. Practically every seat is sold for Deadpool and
whoa!
Wolverine.
Congratulations, Dave.
Yeah,
So,
Marvel, they still, at least I guess Deadpool at
well,
least can
yeah, they
still
held
bring
off
people
for a
out.
long time. Deadpool was not interconnected with so many of the other Marvel movies that it's got its own brand.
Yeah, absolutely. And people love that brand, even if Sean Levy is terrible. So we'll see. Hopefully it's good.
Why is he
Uh,
terrible, Dave? What?
I mean, did you see Free Guy?
No.
Ugh, ugh, ugh. Not good. Anyway, that does it for July. Jason, is there a movie you want to recommend?
Yes, Dave. There is documentaries. Did you watch Disciple, the Stevie Van Zandt documentary on HBO on Max right now?
I did not. No.
Dave, come on, this is right up your alley. Look,
Yeah.
everyone knows I'm a huge Springsteen fan, a huge Steve Van Zandt fan. I've interviewed him before, and this is a really it's 2.5 hours, and it traces like like his book. It traces his beginnings through today, but the first hour and a half of like him and Springsteen and Southside Johnny like kind of all meeting in Jersey and like creating this whole sound that didn't exist and like building a scene that nobody knew was happening all the
Mm-hmm.
way through the 80s and like his political stuff is really that first hour and a half is so great. The last hour is like a victory lap, but yeah, it's probably my favorite documentary to come out this year. So watch that, Dave.
Right on. Right on. Well, Jason, tell people what's going on with Awesome Movie Year and everything going on with you and your comedy.
Dave, awesome movie year, Dave season, the year 2000. We're rounding it out. We're almost at the end here. We got a few more episodes left, and we're gonna go back to the 60s to 1969. Look, I just announced it, and I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
supposed to. I'm a bad boy.
Josh is going to kill you.
I don't think he has the ability to. So that's what's going on there. I'm Go for Jason on Letterboxd, Jason Harris Comedy on all this stuff. I have a headline weekend and Notoriety downtown on the 5th and 6th. So if you want to come see that before you go to the MaXXXine party, that would be a thing. Booking a lot more in July, I think we have an Eat This comedy at Echo and Rig in Henderson on July 28th. How can you beat that? Great food, Echo and Rig, some comedy, beat the heat, get some laughs, eat some steakies. Dave, you could come to that. It's keto friendly, Dave.
Get some steakies. I do like steakies.
Yeah, I can't get you out to a show without steakies, so I'm throwing in the steakies this time. So.
That helps. I like it. Right on, Jason. We'll get you back again soon. Thanks for being here. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Thanks to Jason Harris for joining me. Thank you to all of you for listening. Don't forget, we have 2 live shows coming up in July. First up, on Sunday, July 7th, we've got MaXXXine at Downtown Cinemas with Michael Keane, Tia Bean, and William Patrick Coleman. We are so excited for this one. It's also going to be an 80s themed costume party. We will have prizes for the best costume, and just going to be a really great show. We're excited to see how this whole trilogy wraps up. Then on Thursday, July 25th, at Maya Cinemas, we've got Deadpool and Wolverine with guests Marco Arriaga, Faith Null, and Mike Davis. What else do you need to know? It's Deadpool. Either you're going to be there or you have absolutely zero interest in watching it. So we hope to see you out at these live shows. They have been so much fun lately. We also might be doing 2 in August, but we'll talk about that at a later time. But yeah, lots coming up on the podcast. So make sure you're subscribed. Follow us on social media at Piecing Pod. Join our Facebook group, Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces, where we continue the conversation about all the movies we talk about here on the show. And don't forget, we do have a Patreon, the Produced by David Rosen Patreon, where I post bonus and advanced content from piecing it together. There's video versions of some episodes of the podcast on there. And whenever I finish editing an episode, and if it's not quite ready for it to hit the main feed, it just goes up on the Patreon, so you get to hear it early. Plus, there's stuff from my music career. There's stuff from Jason's podcast, Awesome Movie Year. Check it out, patreon.com/bydavidrosen. We appreciate you being out there listening, but if you want to support the show in that way, it is very much appreciated as well. And with that said, let's close this out with a piece of music like we always do. And let's see. It's really freaking hot out there right now in July, and I'm going to play a track from my last album, More Content, called How to Start a Fire. That'll be a good one. So let's go with that, How to Start a Fire, from my latest full-length album, More Content, and we'll be back with more piecing it together real soon.
An All Points West production, produced by David Rosen in Las Vegas.